Alright, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic Lesson Non-Classic. This episode number 2891 and Doubleshot number 2785. Now, we are talking about Superman here, but it's not 4 series. Nope. We're no longer doing that, unless there's a crossover coming up. Well, there's one more coming up. And then not long afterwards, a lot of these books will be wrapping up. Well, we're first starting with Superman Volume 2, issues 177 to 183. Why am I stopping at 183 as I continue further than that? Well, because 184 is proper crossover. The sequel will Return to Krypton. I'll discuss later. Now, 177, all these issues are pretty much written by Jeff Loeb, with Ed McGuinness, and of course this issue here has Kevin McGuire in the artwork. This issue has debut of a brand new character who Loeb decided to bring over to Superman Batman as a pivotal supporting character in the opening story arc. And he appears for like a couple more times after that. He didn't do a lot in the comics per se. So we start out with issue 177. We have Superman in the office of Perry White. By the way, we have this was established, I think, with issue 151, where we have a brand new Daily Plan building. Yes, because when they had the soft reboot with issue 151, well, Perry White bought back Daily Plan for $1. You're thinking, wait a minute, buying a place for $1 that was usually very expensive. You're thinking, this sounds familiar. Didn't Bendis do this over Marvel? He did. When Iron Man decided to sell the Avengers Mansion Luke Cage for $1. Yep. So, as for my guess is Perry must have got investors. Yeah, he must have got some investors for the planet, because otherwise, though, he would personally not be able to afford this at all. So, and then all of a sudden, then we have these little Superman toys attacking everywhere. And then we see this robot, which I saw this because I saw what the robot looked like from the Tokusatsu Spider-Man series. And it looks very similar to that, but it's not him. It's a similar color scheme. If I sit and you think, oh, toys attacking people, like, sounds like Toyman. Except it's not. Well, as soon as all that and finds another robot, we have the debut of the Japanese Toyman in this issue. Yes. Who is this guy? His name is Haru. Let's see if we can get to the page here. Okay, I'm getting this page right now. I know his first name is Haru. I remember that. It is Haru Okihara. Yeah. Of course, they deal with Metallo also in the issue as well. But yeah, this is the debut of the Japanese Toyman. Yeah, this comic is his debut. Also, he's a bit of a perv, as shown in basically in the pages of Superman and Batman. Here's the thing: after this issue, he would show up in that book. Of course, he also make an appearance in an issue of Action Comics, with, of course, him meeting the original Toyman. It's like Loeb introduced him just so he can basically later bring him back and pay to Superman and Batman. He was kind of pivotal to later issues of that story, and then, like, he popped up a little bit, a handful of times after that, and that was it. But yeah, that's the big thing related to this issue, is basically the debut of the Japanese Toyman. That's most of what exactly what the It is pretty much in the way what the whole purpose of this issue is. It's debut this new character. Also do Metallo. And then moving on to issue 178. Plus, you gotta love this cover here. Him with a bald eagle on his shoulder. The American Way. Where it's like Superman meeting up with, I think it's supposed to be, and for some reason I'm not sure why Emma Guinness did this for. Where now Jonathan Kent's on normal, and for some reason Martha Kent, she looks completely different in this artwork. It's like, for some strange reason, I don't know why this is. Like, I saw this character, I can tell, yeah, that's Jonathan Kent, but wait. This is Martha, right? Why does she look so different? Yeah, I never got this at all. And then we have this weird moment where Pete Ross is basically, Pete Ross at this point in time was the Vice President of the United States. The Secretary of Education was Jefferson Pierce, aka Black Lightning. And when he later resigned, and of course basically Thunder called on this, basically said, when my dad was Secretary of Education, kids actually went to school. And for some strange reason, everybody here is blue. Yeah, it's never really explained of why in the world everybody's blue for. It's the colors. And then for some reason, Superman is at one point randomly fighting Uncle Sam. And, well, they go to Statue of Liberty together. And then we have, looks like, I'm guessing this is Lois and Clark going to a movie in Japan. I'm guessing that because it's definitely Lois and Clark. Yeah, and for some reason they're in the Tokyo Theater District where they make out, and then the book ends with a shocking relation. Lex knows that Clark Kent is Superman, despite the fact he's known this since the 80s. Because the thing is, at the time, he didn't buy the fact that Clark Kent is Superman. Now he does, when he's president. I should point out, though, that was not by John Byrne. This is Jeff Loeb who did this. Yeah, Errol Lowry takes over the artwork. And then we have, by sheer randomness, in this issue, one of the Elite shows up in this issue, in issue 179. Mm-hmm. It's it's a brand new character named Muhammad X. He's from New York City, and he only appears once. He just randomly shows up. Superman basically meets him. It's like, oh, let's have a cool black superhero, and then have a new freaking nothing. By the way, the issue is co-written by Jeff Johns. Now, issue 180 is interesting, which Ian Charles takes over the artwork for this one. This is, get this. So the premise of 180 is this. It's Superman versus the Lord of Vampires, Count Dracula, who dies in this issue. Yes, Superman fights Count Dracula. He at one point gets supposedly bitten by Superman, and then Superman beats him, and that's it for Count Dracula in DC. This issue practically killed him off. You're like, really? Yeah, really. They killed off Dracula in DC Comics. He made his debut in Weird Mystery Tales 14. The guy didn't really appear very much in DC Comics. Like, very, very little. I think it was debut, but he also appeared in Weird War Tales 19. Teen Titans Knight Raider. His appearances were very, very sporadic, but it's an odd issue. Also, I gotta note this too when it comes to the font. Because I think it was with 178, I think it was. that the top part of the book changed, and a lot of the books basically reflect this. 177 did not. So, yes. So, with 178 of this book, for some strange reason, I don't know the reason for this, and this was reflected in all the Superman books that's published this period of time. Yes. Where for some reason, and this is basically the logo on top of the books. Like, here's the regular Superman logo. We have this little bar on top. And that will remain on top for a long time. That will not be removed until, like, after this person, the decade. Mm-hmm. By the way, this amazing cover is drawn by Emma Guinness, Cam Smith, Tyler Hurt, and Rich Howell. Yep. Yeah, and this made the main logo. After 180, of course, they move on to 181. Where it's basically, at the April says you have Superman versus Bizarro, where for some strange reason we have Bizarro and him swap bodies, and then the issue ends with appearing like Manchester Black, who apparently has reversed what Superman did to him. In jail, and then we have this two-part story where the whole thing is trying to get information on Lex Luthor, and they deal with the Suicide Squad. Now, this Suicide Squad, I believe, is supposed to be based upon the Keith Giffen and Jason Martinez book. Because the members are Bizarre, Waller, Solomon Grundy, Killer Frost, and Deadshot. And during this two-parter, at the end of it, Clark Kent gets fired from Daily Planet just so he can go undercover to uncover secrets about Lex Luthor. That's kind of how this thing ends. But I gotta admit, these issues, I love the writing for these issues. I think Loeb does an excellent job. And who would have thunk, basically, that Loeb would do excellent Superman, aside from Superman Batman. But I'm going to give Superman 177 through 183 a 9 out of 10. Alright, next up we have is Superman, the Man of Steel, issues 121 to 127. Yeah, for this book, we're itching really closer to finishing this book. Yep. Now, here's it. We do have Mark Schultz do pretty much issues 122 to 127. He does issues, but not 121. Excuse me. This is done by Jeff Johns. This is, look, I love this cover here. It's so awesome. I love this cover. Now, in this book, you have, it's Superman versus the Royal Flush Gang. Yeah, and all because I think it's supposed to be 10. Is it 10 of diamonds? It's like there's diamond stuff in her body. Yeah, and this lasts this whole issue. I'm like, interesting. And then Mark Schultz comes back to the book with the very next issue. By the way, we have Tom Durant doing the artwork for that one. Mm-hmm. And then we have 122 because, well, then we have this logo for this book here. And that remains the new logo for the book for the remainder of the title. Yes. Now, the arc in this book is done by Darrow Brooks. This mostly put is Superman and Steel having a falling out. I do love the artwork here for Darrow Brooks deals with Lois. Like her in this really nice, sexy robe she's wearing. Which was the fact, yeah, Superman is a very lucky guy. And then, it's like the whole issue deals with Steel. It's like, it feels like, and then we lead into a story known as Gangs of Metropolis. And it's an arc that takes up the next, it takes up the next 5 issues of this book. Mm-hmm. It's like we start with 2 standalone issues and then move on to this story arc. And it's only 5 parts. Mm-hmm. Yep. where in the opening issue, where it's basically Superman, of course, Steel has kind of got back with him because basically fixed the problem, and Pat Dugan from, yeah, and also and of course when we got to talk about the other Superman books, we have people from guest starring from the Stars and Stripe book. Part 2, we have Superman taking on Metallo. Yeah, and of course we deal with more appearances of Citizen Collaboration for Suicide Slum. Yeah, they mostly exist in this book for a couple more issues, and then they also exist for a couple more issues of Superman. They didn't do very much at all in the books. Like, after 125, they stopped appearing. Yeah, and Overmind's like the main villain of these issues. Of course, if you're really who he is. By the way, the artist, they changed artist for some reason. Josh Hood does the arc 124. 125 is Yamagoshi. Whole thing of Brainiac 13. Except it's not Brainiac 13. Yeah, except it's just Overmind with, and of course, deal with the character Earthquake. It's like a bunch of tech stuff with this one. But I love the artwork. That's the best thing about this one. Then we have 126 extra games. I thought we were up to with 6 parts now. My mistake. I thought it was 5 parts. It was actually 3. Then we have a 2-parter Pantheon, which is a 2-parter. This I can't confirm is 2-parter, where Superman deals with Midas, Mexico, Morgan, Malik, Ball. Yeah, basically he deals with the gods. King Midas, who this actually was the character of one of this 2-parter was the only time he appeared. Yeah, the whole thing with Midas is, the story goes, he wanted everything he touched to become gold. But not literally. Because every time he touches food, it turned to gold. He touched his daughter, turned to gold. It became insane for him. That's the whole thing with Midas. Like, the whole thing of the Midas touch. It's like, the whole thing. You touch this, it turns to gold. That's the whole term Midas touch. Mexicali, who was a god, who was one of the gods from Mexico. It's like, okay, so we did some Greece, Mexico. There's Maragon, who is one of the Celtic gods, who first appeared in a Wonder Woman story. Yes, a Wonder Woman story. Who appeared in this 2-parter. He also appeared in Sandman Presents the Talisad. As for Kiki Bones, this is a god from Japan. And this is a character from Lucifer. Yes, for some reason, Mark Schultz doing a character from Lucifer, who appeared in the first volume for Lucifer. That is. Yes. And he even appeared in the second volume for the book, before it got canceled. There's also Baal, who is a Babylonian god. And he first appeared in Batman Demon. Yeah. So Alan Grant created this character. Yes. And here's the thing, aside from these 2 issues in the Batman Demon one-shot, he also appeared in the issue of Impulse. And that was it for him. So it's like, oh, let's have characters appear in this book who don't do anything. And then as soon as this 2-parter wraps up, all these guys, of course, Wonder Woman appears in the book too, because of course she does. And Lois becomes a goddess of integrity. And we also want the Metal Men show up too. It's a odd 2-parter. Yes. But that's kind of ended it here. The two-part is odd, but I do love the art for all these issues. I never thought any issue was bad. But if you want to pick which book had better artwork, was it Superman or was it Man of Steel? I would say it's probably Superman. That had the better artwork in this period of time, from what I can tell. Mm-hmm. But what do I give both books? Superman gave it 9. Man of Steel gave that 8.5. Yep. So yeah, that's a particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and tune in this like button. Next up, physical books. Yep, physical books. And the next comic corner for that will be more Superman, discussing action and adventure Superman. You'll find where they are soon, okay?